Okay, everyone. Hello there. Quick guide and first thoughts of evade build. So, in general, first priority is to bring cooldown reduction for evade up to 75%. That has been the priority in the past. That is still the priority. Now, we do have some nice perks to play with the Chaos perk Alacrity. We basically get 5-second cooldown every second attack instead of every third attack. We will need to understand and see and test how much cooldown that actually brings. If it does increase the cooldown significantly, then we can basically just play Shaco in combination with an amulet, or if Shaco in combination with that perk is enough, then we can free up the amulet also. So we also have a big change in the Spirit Hall change. Previously, the description was casting an Eagle skill grants 4 seconds of the Storm Feather movement speed bonus when you evade, filling up 8 Storm Feathers for every remaining second. So this did imply that D4 considered evading with Thunder Spike, if we have Accelerated Thunder Spike enabled as a cast, even though we have also seen that this does not count as a cast. But since that resulted in Storm Feathers proccing, at least for the evading part and for the Storm Feathers, it is kind of considered to be a cast. So if this wouldn't have been the case, the evade would have not triggered the Storm Feathers in the past seasons. So let's hope that this is actually the case, because we basically now have 3 scenarios. The first one is that evade counts once, and the Storm Feathers create 6 times. Now the second case is that the evade counts twice as an evade plus a cast. This will result in 12 Storm Feathers, major DPS increase. Or, worst scenario is that evade is broken because no Storm Feathers launch and they basically resulted in killing the evade Spiritborn build overall. We will need to have the second Spirit Hall enabled just to get the crit strikes, because we are losing significantly critical strike damage and percentage. And we also need the matching Spirit Halls for Loyalty's Mantle. Now, in terms of Chaos perks, best one is Beast Cornered, just because it gives us an additional damage based on how many % of max life we have lost. And since in combination with Marad Guard, we basically lose 50% permanently because we can never heal up over 50% of the life. In combination with Yakin Shell and with the rune Quacks, we are basically permanently under 50% max life, which gives us a minimum of 100% max damage. If Quacks triggers, we're getting up to 100% max damage. Now this is not plus damage, this is multiple damage. Sorry for that. So this is multiple damage. I will fix this in the guide. Unstable power. Need to test if this triggers with evade. If it does, then that would be nice. Lucky hit is always good because we will basically damaging the enemy has an up to 10% chance to trigger a chaotic burst, and the enemy dealing 40% damage. Your chaotic bursts that hit an enemy reduce a random active cooldown, so we're getting massive cooldown reductions here too. In terms of what chaotic perks and chaotic items to prioritize, here's a list of the chaotic perks. We will have to try out some of them just to understand if it actually is triggered with evade or not. But in generally, back off is one that might be interesting, but the one that basically reduces our life seems the most promising, especially since evade is never intended to actually be hit or it doesn't die unless it gets a big bonk on its head. Now, the chaos items priorities, since we have gloves, pants, definitely to replace with chaos items, boots potentially. We definitely want to have a Wushnak Pa, because this is the highest single DPS boost that Evade can have. It frees up the weapon slot, gives us a chance to boost the primary Spirit Hall, and then in combination with Loyalty's Mantle, either on the head or through a chaos item, we boost it double again. So this is a huge DPS increase. And if we do find Loyalty's Mantle, we are able to basically wear a shackle, where in the past we weren't able to do this with Evade anymore because we just lose the huge DPS. If you find Yakinth Shell, it does open up for using Shards of False Death, or even, it depends on how much damage we're taking and how much resistance we have. It might be interesting with Tyrael's Might. Fist of Fate is definitely good DPS boost, but we'll need to see if we can equip more than 2 chaos items. Because if we can't, then Wushnak Pa and Loyalty's Mantle is definitely the most important items to have here. Skill bar choices, Crushing Hands and Stomp. So you might ask yourself, why am I having Concussion Stomp and Crushing Hands here? This is due to the fact that we have a change in... Great, now this is not loading. We do have a change in resilience, which basically, no, in, oh, come on. Super strange. Skill tree. Yeah, okay, this isn't working. Okay, nothing is working. Come on, D4 builds. What is going on? Okay, let's go back in the notes. Doing commercials here. No commercials. Okay, so with the skill tree change of Resilient, we're basically being able to just get maximum life and barrier generation by just having gorilla skills on the bar. We don't need to trigger them at all. So since Evade builds don't actually trigger much skills, we use Armored Hide and the Seeker only. This means that we get 15% free barrier generation and max life. That's why we have those skills on the task on the skill bar, but we actually never use them. In terms of, the other skills and items that we have, prioritization is cooldown reduction, and then armor, because we need to have enough armor for unyielding hits. Then we try to boost critical strike chance, storm feather potency, and very, very important, of course, primary Spirit Hall. Let's see how this actually acts out in Season 10 PTR next week. We'll see.